Hey everybody, my name is Ben and I am Bald Man Gaming, and we had a little bit of a disappointing race last time out, but there are some highlights from that race, and the highlight of that race is that the Red Bulls crashed out again. 3 races in a row. Max Verstappen has either crashed or has not finished in the points. He finished like 18th in the last race. And so that means Ferrari has taken the lead in the constructors, and Charles Leclerc is leading the drivers' standings as well. So we have 4 days until we hit the Spanish Grand Prix. We don't have a lot going on other than that we have new front wings and new rear wings that we're going to install on Albon. Sargent already has them. Albon's going to get them, and hopefully that is able to get us back into the points, especially when we don't go so conservative. We have our driver development update here as we've flipped over into the month of June. Alexander Albon and Logan Sargent have gone up by just a few points, which is awesome. Logan has increased his cornering by 2, his smoothness by 1. Albon cornering by 1, smoothness by 1. Let's see if there are any others. Whoa, Sargent has gone up by 4. And so reactions have also gone up by 1, a significant jump for Logan. And then we've got Luke doing his thing. All right, so here's what we're doing for our training schedule this time. We're starting to get into the meat of the season, and so this is where our stats are actually going to go down and fall off a little bit. I was playing around with it, and I think this is what's going to end up being best. Our guys were like 75% tired, and so really getting this down, this is where we need a new sporting director. Sporting directors are able to train more efficiently and for you to get less fatigue. So I'm scouting a couple of sporting directors, trying to find us a better one out there. Obviously, we have one of the worst staffs to start, and so Sven might be somebody that we keep, unfortunately, just because we are going to have to make some widespread changes. I've already started to look into new heads of Aero, and then we're also looking into new technical directors and race engineers. So Dirk de Beer is going to be our new head of aerodynamics. All right, and so we have our new head of Aero coming in next year. We gave him a 2-year contract, and then we also had to pay him $1 million more than what Alpine was paying, but I think it's absolutely going to be worth it. We're going to be able to develop our car so much easier with Dirk in charge, and Dirk we trust, and so we're going to have a much better car starting next year once we get our new head of Aero in. All right, so it's time to set our performance targets. So we've got reach Q2, so let's go ahead, obviously qualify for a position. That's just reaching Q2. I think that's great. This one is finishing position, the other one is fastest lap. I'm not going for that quite yet. And then qualifying position, we're going to keep that the same. We can have a big payout after this race, because I think we will qualify top 15, and then we will also finish top 15. I think we have close to a top 10 car at this point, and then it's about drivers. And so if we can get aggressive, we have a shot at getting into the top 10, getting some more points. I just want to take a second and point out, this is after the 3rd practice result. Logan Sargent, 9th. Heck yeah. And he has bad parts. So this is not like we have fresh parts in this. We have used parts that we can't use in races anymore. All yellows and oranges. And Logan Sargent's in 9th. We're going to stick with our strategy of trying to get a toe off each other and send them out pretty quickly. And the reason why is because it's going to rain. And so I want to be out in front, not stuck in the pack, because it's going to rain. This qualifying has heavy rain or moderate rain that's supposed to happen, and so this always makes for an interesting time to see if you time everything correctly to be able to beat out some cars that maybe you shouldn't be, like Ferraris and Red Bulls and stuff like that. And so it's going to be a little bit of an interesting qualifying. Let's see what happens, y'all. Albon spun on his out lap. What are we doing? All right, let's check out the spin from Albon. On an out lap, going around, and is he just going to lose the back end? Just loses the back end, and Sargent gets in front of him. He does line up right behind Sargent, so it's not too big of a deal. At least he didn't get shuffled back into the pack, but it's an out lap. All right, so Sargent and Albon have clean air the entire time. Everybody else has a lot of dirty air going on. Hopefully this benefits Sargent and Albon. Really benefited Albon. Sargent not nearly as good. So Albon has already beaten out Russell. He's beaten out Ocon. Hamilton beat out Albon. So we're going to be able to tell where everybody is going to be starting pretty quickly here. All right, so here's what the rest of qualifying looks like for Q1, and it's going to rain the entire time. So the laps that are set are going to be the ones that are going to be used for qualifying. Those are going to be the fastest laps. So I told you guys, is Sargent going to make it? Is Sargent going to make it? Yes, he is. All right, so 15th, barely getting over Bottas by 1/100th of a second. So he makes it in, had a bad Q1. That's okay. We'll go into Q2 and see what happens. All right, so we're going to send Sargent and Albon out pretty quickly. The reason why is because the entire pack is going to come out. I'll show you why real fast. This is the time to set your lap. Once it gets higher, everybody's going to go slower. So this is the time to set your lap with the inters. And so getting them out in front where the pack is not going to affect them is going to be crucial for them to have the best shot. So there we go, sending them out. So we're once again really going to only run one lap, and then we'll see what happens. All right, so the entirety of the field has exited the pits. I think Sargent and Albon are not going to catch anybody, and so they've got clean air the entire time. Sargent and Albon, I think Albon's going to get a pretty good time here, and Sargent gets the better time than Albon this time. And so we will see if Sargent and Albon make it into Q number 3. Sargent got 8th. Everybody really set one lap. The first lap was their fastest lap, and Albon got 14th. So Albon's gonna have to pick through the field a little bit, but Logan Sargent's gonna start at least top 10. We'll see anything above that would be great. But Logan Sargent once again makes it into Q3. All right, so I sent out Sargent really early on. Once again, it's going to rain, so everybody's gonna set one lap. It's been looking like clean air is super important, so I'm going to set him out early and try to get as much clean air as we possibly can, and then hopefully everybody kind of cycles out before he makes it back. We just need Stroll to leave the pits, and everybody will be in front of him, and he won't catch anybody. All right, Logan Sargent is on his flyer, and he is not going to catch the back of the pack, and so Logan Sargent is going to set a 114.9. I don't know if that's going to be good enough for above 10th, to be totally honest with you. But I'm glad that he made it into Q3. I'm going to fast forward a little bit and see where he ends up. All right, so Logan Sargent got 10th. I told you guys it wasn't a good lap. He was almost 2 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Russell didn't have a good lap, neither did Lewis. But when you only get to throw one lap out there, a lot of times this is what happens. Sometimes you can have a blazer, and then sometimes you can have a stinker. It just happens. So Logan's going to start 10th, Albon 14th. All right, so here's going to be our strategy for today. It is going to be soft, hard to medium for both drivers. They're going to be pitting relatively on the same lap. All right, we have those 5 red lights, and they are out. And here we go, starting on Logan Sargent because he is our man. And so let's look at Logan. He is already fighting right in the middle of the Alpines with Gasly and Ocon right now. And so there we go, dives right into the inside, trying to follow Russell, but Gasly takes him on the inside, and Sargent slots himself right into 11th. And then Albon is retaining 14th as Hulkenberg has already taken Ocon for 12th, and we'll see who ends up with that spot by the time this first lap ends. But we will be, like I said, when we were looking at a strategy, we will be looking to find a way to be aggressive on our tires. I think there are going to be opportunities to go ahead and be aggressive at the end of stints. Or if we're trying to pass some people, if we're getting kind of stuck in some DRS, I think that's really what we're going to use some of the extra tire for, especially in the middle stint and the last. So let's see what we can do today. Let's see if we can micromanage our way into the top 10. As we're entering into lap number 2, you can see that everybody is on different strategies. A lot of soft runners, a lot of medium runners, and then you have Stroll and Russell going with the hards first, which means they're going to have faster tire at the end of the race. And so that should be an interesting strategy for them. If they can stick themselves in the top 10 the entirety of the time, then they're going to have quicker second and third stints, which could benefit them as long as the leaders don't get too far out in front of them. All right, so there is a battle in front of us, and Gasly is getting up by Russell. And Russell's on the hard tires, Gasly's on the medium tires. We've got soft, so hopefully they can battle it out a little bit here, pull themselves back towards us, because we are losing connection. We still don't quite have the car to compete with these guys. They might be pushing their tires pretty hard as well. Sargent got dumped out of DRS as well, which is not good because here comes Hulkenberg. Here comes Hulkenberg, passes Sargent right there, and so we've just got shuffled back just a little bit. We want Gasly to get by Russell because Gasly is faster than Russell, and Russell's going to continue to drift back, and we're all going to be able to catch DRS off of him. And now that people's tires are starting to be worn down, people are starting to lose connection with the pack, and so this is where it's going to start getting interesting. Ocon got DRS right off of Sargent, but Sargent does not have DRS off of Hulkenberg, and Hulkenberg had DRS off of Gasly, and Gasly didn't have DRS, and so we're going to start seeing some gaps open up here, which is going to be beneficial when people start wanting to pit. But until then, Sargent, I can't really push him much harder than what we are currently doing because we're already going to have to probably pit Sargent, I don't know, a lap or two before we really want to. Here goes Ocon. Ocon is going to try to take Sargent on the inside, and Ocon has taken Sargent. And so we're going to go ahead and put Sargent on high overtake aggression. The reason why is because we're going to have that DRS on Ocon. And we're going to see if he's not quite a second out of Hulkenberg. So we're just going to fall right back in the line. We're going to take it back off so that he doesn't crash. And I'm going to go ahead and since Albon has now lost connection with everybody, he has 5 seconds until Sonoda. There's a yellow flag. No! Oh, Logan! He locked up, and I think he took out somebody with him. He locked up, took out somebody with him. Oh, he took out Esteban Ocon. So here comes the lockup from Sargent. Oh! But we're going to go ahead, get our ERS. Nope, Sargent's out. He's also going to get the penalty as well. I think that was a fair penalty to get. That really stinks, man. All right, well, Sargent is out for the race. He was doing pretty good. So Albon is the one that we're going to be concentrating on for the rest of the race. He's going to save a little bit of tire. We're going to get some ERS as well. But, oh, man, that really stinks, man. We need to get Sargent a little bit better of a car. I know we need to get him better overall. If we can get him to an 80, maybe some of these crashes won't happen anymore. All right, VSC is ending. We're going to play it just a little bit more conservative. We're going to let these guys go. And we're just going to go and continue on. I want to save the fuel for the middle stint. It's going to be a long road ahead, guys. Long road ahead trying to get Sargent to the top, but it's going to be well worth it when we do it. It's going to be worth it. Another yellow flag, another yellow flag. Somebody else right there. Oh, I think that's Haas Magnussen. Oh no, Magnussen, he was running 7th. I mean, I say oh no, but this gives us an advantage. And so, ooh, collides with an Aston Martin. Okay, I think that's Stroll that he collided with. And so let's see, we're definitely in front of Magnussen. Magnussen is significantly behind us now. I think Stroll or Magnussen is going to get a penalty for that. And then I wouldn't be surprised if one of them has damage, if both or at least one of them has damage as well. And so that could give us an advantage here going into the first round of pit stops. Somebody could get significantly cycled behind us, or we can significantly catch them. Oh, and Stroll gets the penalty. Stroll gets the penalty. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so we are in the pits. We are going in. Our boys are tired, and so hopefully we can get a good time off here. 2.613. That's what I'm talking about. Even though tired, still getting that good work in. So fantastic. Gotta love that type of pit stop. And so hopefully that gets us some points in the DHL fastest pit stop. We're going to go ahead and go on attack, warm these tires up, and then we're going to chill out on the stint. We're going to use the fuel as well to try to go a little bit faster on this hard stint, especially since we have a ton of clean air. Just to try to cut down on the time, try to honestly eat into the time towards Stroll is what I'm thinking, so that when he takes that penalty, he ends up behind us. And as we are talking, Hulkenberg had put on reds and just blew past us. I mean, blew past us. I will reel him back in, but I just needed to point that out that no, I didn't even realize that was going to happen, and he just absolutely blew past us. All right, so we have caught up to Zhou Guan Yu. Stroll is pitting right now as well, so he's going to have to take his penalty. And it looks like he's done with his pit stop. It's going to be a close one to see if there is a yellow flag. What just happened? We're also there's Stroll. So we cycled in front of Stroll just like we wanted. And now Leclerc has locked up into turn number 5. Leclerc locked up, and as Leclerc locks up and we're commentating on that, it looks like we're going to have an advantage to possibly to get past Zhou Guan Yu as well. Once again, Stroll ended up behind us, so our goal of catching Stroll enough for him to end up behind us was achieved, and so that is fantastic. That's what you love to see. You love to see it, guys. You love to see it. So hopefully Stroll gets caught up into a little bit of a DRS train with Zhou, and we can keep him behind us just a little bit. But Albon took Zhou, and then Stroll is on red, so he's probably going to get past us a little, all the way up to 10th, I should say, excuse me. As we were talking, once again, Stroll goes right by us, so we will cycle up to 11th.
Ridiculous.
But we knew that Stroll was going to pass us there, as he is on the better tire compound, and so that's not too big of a deal. We just need to keep going with our strategy. I think our strategy is great. I think we have a really good shot at outlasting some of these guys. Oh, Sainz has spun. The Ferraris are having a little bit of a difficult time here in Barcelona. This is your home track, Sainz. Oh, the Spaniard spins in Barcelona. Oh, there is a big logjam as we approach De Vries and Norris. We have caught Stroll because of it. So here's what we are also going to be trying to do. We're going to be trying to use our battery to get by some of these guys. And so we're just going to try to pick our opportunity. There goes Norris, so that makes the job just a little bit easier. Now we've got DRS, and De Vries has picked an amazing line. And so we're going to go right back up to the bumper of Stroll. And I hope not to be stuck behind these guys for too long. I would actually like Stroll to get by De Vries so that we can do the same thing. But it is good to have De Vries hold up Stroll a little bit, because that does benefit us. And so perfect, Stroll gets right by De Vries. We should be following suit just here in a second. And there we go. We are getting by De Vries as well. So that's very well done by Albon. I'm going to try to throw on deploy, see if we can keep in range of Stroll. I think he just drove off, though. Wow, those reds are so much better. Throw it back on neutral. So Russell had cycled behind us with his first pit stop because he was on the hards. He got those hards to last a really long time. And Russell gets by us, and he's going to try to track down Stroll, Gasly, and Hulkenberg.
I think it can happen.
We're still in 11th. I think we're still in a pretty decent spot. We are going a little bit more aggressive, trying to use up our tires a little bit more. And these guys with softs should be pitting soon. All right, so 45, 45, and then 34. So these guys on softs should be pitting very, very soon. And the hope is that by going on aggressive and then hopefully going on attack, we can maintain a little bit of track position on them, as they are probably going to go on to mediums or hards themselves, depending on what they've done so far. And then we're going to be throwing on either an equal compound or a faster compound than them. All right, so the pit cycling from above us is starting to happen. Hulkenberg is there. He dove into the pits. And then the next person who's probably going to do it is Stroll. So Hulkenberg is getting shuffled all the way back here. It's going to happen to us as well. But Hulkenberg's probably going to be on the hards. Yep, Hulkenberg's on the hards. So he's on hards, and we're going to be on mediums at the end. So this is why we're going aggressive now, trying not to lose too much time to them, because Stroll's most likely going to have to go on hards as well. And then we're going to have the faster compound with a little extra tire in the bank for the end. And so hopefully this strategy works pretty well for us. We'll see. We'll see if we kind of screwed up if being on the slower tire in the middle, but we'll see. Oh man, I didn't realize this, but I think Stroll has a puncture. Oh, Stroll has a puncture. How beautiful. Stroll has a puncture. They didn't pit him in time. And so Albon got right past Stroll, and he's getting dumped out of position here, and so that is going to give us the advantage. That's basically going to pop us up to a minimum of 10th because Stroll was one of the guys that was significantly far out in front of us. I didn't even realize it, wasn't paying attention, thought I was just going to be the next pit stop, and Stroll had to limp his way. We might end up, we're going to end up in front of Stroll. Albon locked up. Oh man, Albon. We're going to have to pit him just a bit earlier now, and that's okay. We'll go ahead and pit him. That was turn 1. Dang it. So he's going to have to go all the way around. We're going to throw him on standard because I'm afraid that he is going to end up really hurting those tires. I don't think we lost enough time where we're going to end up behind Stroll. Stroll should be on hards at this point. Stroll's on mediums. Okay, I think he's going to have to really nurse these mediums as well. To make it to the end, and so we're going on to mediums. We've got a decent pit stop going for us, but there's a lot of people in front of us that are going to have to pit, and then Hulkenberg is on the hards, and so hopefully what we can do is we can track down Hulkenberg, and by that time we should still have a better tire compound than him. We've only popped out into 11th. That is fantastic. We are 7 seconds behind Bottas, and we're only 18 seconds behind Hulkenberg, so it is absolutely possible to catch up. We also have a lot of battery as well.
Go push. Okay.
And so hopefully we can go ahead and, I mean, that puncture for Stroll brought him all the way back to 15th. And I'm still about 5 seconds ahead of Stroll after us locking up. All right, so now we're running into the issue that Stroll has now caught us. Stroll has caught us. He has probably enough tire to barely make it to the finish here. But Stroll has caught us, and that's where our lockup has really hurt us. Is that first, we're not as close to Hulkenberg, so 9th place is probably out. But Stroll, who got a puncture, is now looking to get back into the points because he is right behind us. And so we're going to have to play really good defense. I'm going to start pushing the gas just a little bit more.
Can reduce lifting post. Okay.
And we are lapped, and so we can use probably a little bit more fuel as we go here because we are lapped. All right, so Lance Stroll makes a dive onto Alexander Albon. And Lance Stroll is trying to take Albon. Albon is fighting back, and Albon had the inside. It has the inside to this turn as well. And Albon has fought back in front of Lance Stroll, but Stroll is going to get DRS right here. Can Albon lay down a good line? Albon lays down a good line. We have just about 5 laps to go in our race since we are lapped. And Albon, fantastic positioning of the car. And Stroll is going to try to dive to the inside here of Albon, and Albon is shutting the door, and he has the inside track of this turn as well. And there goes Alexander Albon staying in front of Lance Stroll. Absolutely fantastic. If we're looking at the tire wear here, is that Lance Stroll has 42, we have 53. We're keeping a little bit in the bank. Is that once we get just probably this next lap, we're going to throw it on aggressive for the rest of the time. There's a yellow flag. What just happened? Yellow flag. What just happened? All right, nothing too crazy has happened. But there are a couple of drivers, Hulkenberg, who is in front of us. Oh, Hulkenberg was in front of us. Oh, 9th place might be on.
Now, this was the
9th place might be on. Let's check this out. So Hulkenberg just got passed by one of the leaders. And oh, he goes right off the track. He goes right off the track. And he gets it going pretty quickly, but that's going to give us a lot of time. And there's Hulkenberg. There's Hulkenberg. Albon. There's Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg has probably barely enough tire for the finish here. In Albon, we're going to go aggressive. Let's get Hulkenberg. Oh, late drama. Late drama for 9th place here. Let's go try to get Hulkenberg here. We're going to turn up our ERS as well to try to track down Hulkenberg.
Easy overtake.
Does Stroll have enough to overtake Albon? It does not look like it. And Alexander Albon is going to shut the door on Lance Stroll. And we are deploying our ERS to try to catch it right back up into Hulkenberg. That'll also help us defend against Lance Stroll as well. And we just have a few laps left, and we are going to push our car to the limit. as Lance Stroll is doing the same thing. Hulkenberg is doing the same thing. There's a couple people in front that might risk puncture or just barely get out of it. Bottas is already risking puncture for the rest of the race. And so Albon and Hulkenberg, we're going to go ahead and turn on the fuel since we've been lapped as well. And so we are going to let's go for it. We're going on attack. We're going on attack. I think ninth place is in. Let's go. Risk it. Risk everything. Risk everything. ERS is done. We've dropped Stroll out of our DRS, and so now the objective is to go ahead and try to catch Hulkenberg again, and then maybe make the pass in the dying seconds. All right, so we finally got DRS on Alexander Albon. We have just about 2 laps to go in our race, and so 2 laps to go here, and we have just gotten DRS on Hulkenberg. So we've got DRS on Hulkenberg. We probably have just about enough tire to finish out this race. Hulkenberg is in puncture range. Hulkenberg's in puncture range as well. Once we get by Hulkenberg, I know we're really pushing it on the fuel. We're lapped. We're lapped. Let's just use the fuel. So we're lapped here. And so we're going to get some more DRS right here on Hulkenberg. Pull even closer. Wonderfully done. Wonderfully done. Masterfully done. Right? Masterfully done. All right, so we have 1 lap remaining. 1 lap remaining. Since we are lapped, we have just this lap. Be aggressive on your overtakes, Albon. There it is, Alexander Albon diving to the inside of Hulkenberg. And he's going to take the inside track. Hulkenberg can't keep up with Albon, and Albon took 9th. And so that's fantastic. I thought 10th was going to be the best thing we could do after our lockup, and Albon has taken 9th after Hulkenberg has locked up. A little bit of luck went our way, but we've still got to bring this home. We've still got to bring it home. Let's throw it on standard. I know it's a little bit of a risk, but Hulkenberg does have to kind of baby these bad boys back through. We're going to have to as well. And here comes the DRS rate. Hulkenberg has DRS on Albon, but it is not long enough it's not a long enough straight to catch up to Albon, and Albon is going to be able to hopefully get 9th place. We just have a couple of turns left. And Alexander Albon is going to grab 9th place in off the last lap. Wow! So Albon had one of the best races, moving up 5 spots to get into the points. Very disappointed from Logan as he locked up and absolutely crushed Ocon. But that's a fantastic race from Albon, the person who moved up the most places on the grid. Grabbed some points for us at Williams. Fantastic. So this puts Albon, he's slowly getting more and more points. He is up to 13th. He's right behind Magnussen. So, moving up the grid just a little bit. Hopefully we can get Logan Sargent a point before the end of the season. But moving himself up the grid is fantastic. Keeping Lance Stroll out of the points was also fun as well. But what this does mean is that Red Bull moves back up into first place. Red Bull moves back up into first place. Luckily, Charles Leclerc had enough of a lead off of Max where not getting on the podiuming, is that a word? Not getting on the podium for the first time in the season didn't affect him too much. Albon set one of the fastest pit stops of the day, got 10 more points. DHL fastest pit stop, fantastic. We're looking pretty good in being in the top 4. All right, so bad news for Logan Sargent. He hurt his chassis, the front wing. We also have failed on the underfloor suspension, so he's going to need a lot of new parts. But the good news is that he didn't really hurt any of the powertrain, which is great. Because we're running out of gearboxes for him. His ERS, this is his last one, and then we only have one more engine for him as well. And so I'm glad that we are able to retain some of those parts, as those are some of the most expensive, and you take grid penalties, and so he's not good enough to recover for them. All that being said, my name is Ben, and this has been Bald Man Gaming. If you liked the video, hit that like button, comment down below. I'd love to get involved with you guys. And then also subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything that we're doing here at Bald Man Gaming. Thank you guys so much for joining me again. Peace out, everybody.